It's quite common for power tool flexes to get damaged. In this case, the flex has been chewed in half by a dog. The dog has completely chewed the flex and it has come away completely from the power tool. I've inspected the rest of the flex and it is in good condition apart from the end where the dog chewed through it. If your flex is damaged halfway through or close to the plug, you are better off buying a new piece of flex. The first thing to do with this drill is to remove the soft grip from the back of it. Normally you can just put a screwdriver in these and just lever them out, like that. We've then got 8 screws that we need to remove from the drill before we can open it. To speed things up, we're going to use a drill driver. Whenever you remove a screw, if you place it just directly behind the drill, you keep the screws in the correct order. It's important you do this because in some machines you will have long screws and short screws. So all the screws that are in the drill have now been removed apart from these 2, but they're not actually holding the drill together. So we can now get hold of this side of the case and we can slowly separate the drill. You can use a flat bladed screwdriver to help to lever it apart. So that is that side of the casing now removed. If you take a look at this rubber part here, it is quite badly damaged, so we're going to repair that the best we can. We now need to remove those 2 screws. Remove the cord grip, and then we can see that the cable goes into this switch. To be able to get to these connectors, we need to remove the switch. And if you turn that over, you can see the 2 screws there which are holding in the live and neutral wires. So if we just undo those, we should now be able to remove those 2 wires. And when you do this, you need to remember where the wires actually came from. So the live goes up here and the neutral down there. So that is the old flex now removed. So that's the important part that we need, because that's the bit that goes in there. Now I'm going to cut this damaged end off. I'm now going to carefully cut some of the insulation off the flex. So I'm just going to nick between the 2 wires there, and then I can pull that back. Before we go any further, I'm going to slip some heat shrink sleeving over the actual flex. This kind of sleeving will actually shrink when you heat it up. So whenever you repair a cable or do a repair like this, it's very handy. So I've slid them on there already, so we can put them in position after. I'm now just going to feed the flex through what's left of this rubber type grommet. I can then push that back into position, and then I can check the length of the actual flex. So I can now cut the actual wires to approximately the correct length. I can now strip off some of the insulation. Normally I would tin these ends using a soldering iron, but unfortunately I can't find it. So we're just going to twist all the strands together. Once I've twisted them together, I'm just going to bend the conductor back on itself slightly. That will ensure that we get a really good connection when we come to tighten up the screw. So I'm now going to place that back into the terminal. And then I'm going to tighten the terminal screw. Same with the neutral wire. I'm going to pop that back into the terminal. Before tightening the screw. I'll just make sure they are tight. It's always a good idea to check to see if you can pull a wire out once you inserted it into a terminal to make sure that it is in properly. So we can now put the switch back in its position. So I'm now going to put the cord grip back in position, and I'm going to screw that down using an actual screwdriver. The drill drivers are good for undoing things, but you don't want to over tighten anything. So when you come to put your screws back in, you are better off using a screwdriver. So I can get those reasonably tight. Now we can put the casing back on the drill. And again, I'm just going to use a screwdriver. I'm going to put all the screws back in. Now we can replace the grip that should just push it back into position. I'm now just going to tape this end up using some insulation tape. I'm then going to slide the heat shrink sleeving up into position. Once this is heated, it should shrink to approximately half its original size. I'm now going to take the heat gun and I'm just going to apply some heat to the heat shrink tubing. So you can see that the heat shrink tubing has shrunk onto the actual flex and onto the bit that was damaged up there, and that has given us an half decent repair. The only thing we need to do now is check that it's working, which it is. So that is how to replace a power tool flex.